How about now?
There we go.
All right. Want to welcome everybody to the call tonight. We're on Fringe Team Hour, and we got a very special guest with us. We've already proven to him that we're technically challenged. What we've really proven tonight is if we can do this, anybody can. So I'm going to read a quick disclaimer. Actually, not going to read it. I'm just going to ad lib. So understand that purchasing precious metals does involve risk, and the risk is that precious metals has the tendency to go up in value or down in value. So exercise and do your due diligence and educate yourself. The information that we're providing tonight should not be considered tax or financial advice. Folks, I live in Arkansas and I can't even spell tax advisor or financial advisor. So understand we're neither. And the future value of precious metals is based on a lot of factors. The past performance is no guarantee of the future performance. We do not have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what precious metals are going to do tomorrow. Every time I say this in my presentation, I can tell you this: 1 ounce of silver will always be worth 1 ounce of silver. It's considered God's money. It was here way before me. It'll be here way after I'm gone from this earth. So, with that said, I want to introduce our special guest. It is my honor and my privilege to welcome 7K co founder Richard Wayne Hanson to this call. Richard, thank you so much for coming on with us. And you know what? I'm just going to turn it over to you and you do your thing.
Derek, I've never been happier. I've never been at more peace. I've never been more excited. You know, we're breaking records here with 7K medals, but the greatest thing is we're just getting started and the best is yet to come. But let me ask everyone a question. Would you all agree with me that Derek and Brandy are doing an incredible job? Let's give them a hand. Yes, yes, yes. And if it's okay, I would just kind of like to tell you how this thing got started and tell you my story. Is that okay, Derek? I was
Absolutely.
I was living in New York. I was drafted in the Army in 1972. I spent 2 years in the service, and I think we got a lot of background noise. But anyway, in June of 1982, I was a fireman for the city of Carrollton, Texas. I was driving a fire truck, and my sister, Joy, invited me to an opportunity meeting downtown Dallas, Texas, the Americana Hotel. This is June of 1982. I'd never been to an opportunity meeting, knew nothing about network marketing. The health and wellness company was called Herbalife, and the founder, Mark Hughes, was speaking. The vice president, Larry Thompson, and the executive vice president of sales was Jim Rohn. And at that meeting, he said some things 40 years ago that changed my life. He said, for things to change, I had to change. And for things to get better, I had to get better. So I joined this health and wellness network marketing company, and good fortune. Got a lady from our church on the product who got someone on the product who lost over 70 pounds. Everybody noticed. The next thing you know, I was making money, and I received a $4,000 royalty override check with this company in 82. And so I got invited every month to what they called corporate school, where I believe I was trained by the best of the best, the original founders in this industry. So good fortune. I hit the grand slam home run with that company. It ran into some snags back in 1985, 1986. I know this is before everybody on this call's time, and joined another network marketing company where I broke records. And that was the second company I became a $1 million earner in. And then back in let me make sure I got this right, 1994 is when I was introduced to my first 50-50 binary with the weekly pay, where sales posted infinite levels, which is the 50-50 binary with the tracking center, and it was American Eagle 1-ounce gold coins. I never held a gold coin, never saw a gold coin. Well, make a long story short, I became a gold bug. So since 1994 until present, precious metals is my hot button. And so in 1999, just before Y2K, I was at a Sam's Club in Dallas, Texas. And I went up to the customer service desk and I said, I can't find the American Eagle 1/10-ounce gold coins. I'm a gold bug. I've got this membership. I was told that memberships had privileges. You have everything from dog food to batteries to tires to clothing to food. Why not gold and silver? And they said they didn't. And as a full-time networker who quit the fire department in 1982, and I've been 100% full-time, eat, drink, and sleep morning, noon, and night now for over 40 years in this industry. So I'd have to say I've been around the block once or twice. I've got a few gray hairs. I've learned a couple of things. I had some ups and I had some downs. And I grew to hate the industry. I hated it for many reasons. The overpriced products. There was only a few prima donnas in each and every one of the companies making the money. The complicated plans where there was all kinds of breakage. And when I looked at the Sam's Club membership model, I said to myself, why not? Why not become the Sam's Club of gold and silver? Obviously, Sam's and Costco's was a membership that was working very, very successfully. And one of the things was that people renewed their membership in Sam's and Costco's, not because they had to, but because they found value. And so, to the best of my knowledge, there's nothing in the world like 7K metals. It's nothing, I didn't compare it with anything else. I just said we would have a standard and a premium membership. Both of them would allow you to buy unlimited amounts of precious metals at member direct pricing, good for 1 year. And we'd also let you earn some extra money if you weren't afraid to put some perspiration on your forehead and just roll up your sleeves and go out in the marketplace, be a product of the product, carry the precious metals, put it in people's hands, and tell the story. And so from 1999 all the way to November of 2016, I held on to that dream. And it didn't just fall out of the sky. Everything from, for example, the autosave on the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 21st, the 26th. That's by design. Why? So you can get residual income. Why is it the points are put on the weaker side of your tracking center? So I could be a blessing to you, help you continue to get residual income. Why do we have the hugest, biggest in the industry ever $500 cycle check? By design, because it was all about the non-professional making the above average income, putting them into profit, and then being able to do it without interfering with their present job. And so it wasn't until Roger came to me in 2016 and he said, I have the money and you've got the dream. I believe in you. I'll back you. And I said, I can't do it unless I have Josh Anderson and Zach Davis. And he says, are you sure? And I said, absolutely, because they're geniuses. They're brilliant. They're new school. I just turned 70 years young. These guys got a lot of living to do and their brains are sharp. When you look at Stack and Sell, you look at Sound Money Wallet, and here's what I'm real proud about. So obviously, Mr. Roger Ball had the deep pockets, he had the money, and I was an expert in network marketing. I had the Rolodex. I could have made the phone calls. I could have flown in the top 20 people in the industry, and we could have started that way. But I refused to because 7K Metals is not like anything else. When I say we're the greatest company in the history of this industry, I know I'm telling the truth because, hey, our product's not as good as gold. It is gold. And nobody has the easy to explain ABC 1, 2, 3 one-page compensation plan with a $500 cycle check. They'll pay you up to $12,500 a week per tracking center with the infinite levels posted to the top of the computer, the weekly pay, and everything that goes along with it. And so would you like to hear how this all happened? So I just walked out the front door. I got that membership. So I'm the first one to have a 7K membership. And my job was to go make the sales, to develop the organization. And here we are today. And so I could tell you story on top of story, but I flew into Salt Lake City. The reason is I wanted to drive in the morning 3 hours north to Idaho Falls, Idaho, to meet with Roger, Josh, and Zach. Well, when I landed at the airport and I was getting in the shuttle van to go from the Salt Lake City airport to the hotel, here's what I want you to understand real clearly. With my 40 years background, the best training I've got is simply live life to the fullest and talk to people at opportune moments. So let me clarify this. The stranger driving the shuttle van is picking me up at the Salt Lake City airport. He grabs my bag, he throws it into the back of the shuttle van, shuts the door. When he turns around, Derek, I have my hand out. And I said, my name is Richard. What is yours? And he said, David Tressner. The second thing he said is, he said, what brings you to Salt Lake City? How do we make money, everybody? Randy, we talk to people at opportune moments. We lighten up our sales to brighten up. The truth is on our side. There's no lie. It's gold. How do you explain gold? It's gold. There's nothing else more you can say. And so when the stranger says to me, what brings you to Salt Lake? By design, I dumped 20 mint fresh 2016 American Eagle, big shiny, #1 sought after silver coin in the world, because the federal law on the 17th of December, 1985 was signed by President Ronald Reagan. Those coins are guaranteed their weight, content, and purity by the United States of America. So I put in his hands the #1 sought after silver coin in the world. His eyes lit up. I got a membership before I checked into the hotel. In the morning, I'm driving from Salt Lake City to Idaho Falls. Randy, how do we make money? We talk to people at opportune moments. What do you talk about? It really doesn't matter. Just talk. Let me explain. I'm hungry. I stop off in Kaysville, Utah, at Granny Annie's restaurant. Why? Because I'm hungry. I want to eat lunch. I'm not stressing out. I'm not worried about how I'm going to make a sale today. I'm just living life to the fullest. So when I'm in the restaurant and I get the eye contact of Gene Mann, and I'm doing one of these, looking out the window, and I said, wow, I can't believe the incredible mountains in Salt Lake City, the beautiful snow on the top. I love Salt Lake City. What does he say? He says, do you live here? And I go, no. Where do you live? I said, Indiana. He said, what brings you to Indiana? Are you listening? There's not a place, there's not a person in the world at that time that understands more about 7K metals than me. I invented it. I'm the creator of it. Nobody understands it better than me. He said to me, what brings you to Salt Lake City? Guess what I said? Not a word. Did not say a word. I had my hand in my pocket on my 2 x 20 American Eagle mint fresh coins, and I dumped them in his hands. 3 or 4 fell on the ground. Rebecca screamed. His wife, Rebecca, when you go to Salt Lake, when you go to New Orleans, you make sure you meet Gene and Rebecca. He's 86 years young. Rebecca yells, what is it? Rebecca is asking the creator, inventor of 7K metals, what is it? I didn't say it's a binary. I didn't say it's silver and gold. I didn't say you could make money. I didn't say one word. I held up my cell phone and I showed the video. She screamed, give him money. I had to make out a check to 7K metals. I didn't even know if that was the way we were supposed to do it, correct? Because we didn't have a computer up yet. Why am I saying this? This is going to come crystal clear. I'm saying this because you never do something to someone that they cannot do to someone else. You must be duplicatable. The superstar must be the product, not you. Okay? The next day, I decide to drive to Jackson Hole, Wyoming to see the Grand Tetons. I'm coming back and I stop off at the Square ice cream store at Swan Valley. How do we make money? We talk to people at opportune moments, correct? I just want to get a Square huckleberry ice cream, right? They call them square because instead of a round scoop, they're these crazy square ones, right? When you come to visit Idaho Falls, you got to go get a Square ice cream, right? So I get eye contact with this guy, Kay Cox. My job is to make sales. We got to build this company, right? I got the Rolodex. I'm doing this 40 years. I know the best of the best. I refuse to call them because this will be built grassroots. So I start going, I go, man, Jackson Hole, Wyoming is the greatest place. The Grand Tetons, that place is just out of this world. I love it. I love it. I love it. Do you live in Jackson Hole? No. Where are you from? Indiana. What brings you here? The coins in his hands. Boom. Kay Cox, successful with us today. I fly up to Kalispell, Montana. I bought 160 acres. I bought another 800. So now I own 960. Get a chance, you go to ashleylakelodge.com. It's my site's only been up there a few days, but I'm building all kinds of sites for people to rent in the prettiest place in all of North America, Glacier National Park. So I go up and I'm meeting a stranger. Call up on the internet. I said, I would like someone to show me this piece of property. Brandy, you with me still? Chad, you with me? How do we make money? We put the bounce in our step, the gleam in our eye. It's not what we say that counts. It's how we feel about what we say. In other words, do you really, 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 really believe that if your friends and loved ones end up with a couple of shoe boxes full of gold and silver buried out back under the old apple tree, that'd be a good thing, not a bad thing, correct? So the lady Dana, you'll meet her. Dana has never missed a cycle check for 6.5 years. Her smallest check is 500, never missed. This lady that I never saw in my life, don't know who she is, don't know nothing about her. She's showing me a piece of real estate. She says to me, what do you do? Now, why did she ask what I do? Because she wants to know how I'm going to pay for the property, right? What did I do? Nothing. I dumped the coins in her hands. Her eyes lit up. She was at our first convention the last Saturday in November 2016, and she's been with us ever since. She lives in Libby, Montana. No cell phone coverage, no internet coverage. She's making a boatload of money. Okay. So I said, this is working real good. I got some windshield time. So I dial up Dennis Nacella. You'll love Dennis. Dennis is, he's the greatest. So I call up Dennis. Now remember, face-to-face is better, but I can't go to face-to-face everyone. So I call up Dennis and I say to myself, if this is the real deal, I'm going to do it in less than 60 seconds because it's built on the superstar, the comp plan, and our product, not Richard Wayne Hanson. Now remember, Vivian and Chuck and everybody out there, it's not what you say that counts, it's how you feel about what you say, right? So Dennis picks up the phone and I go, Dennis, it's the miracle. Roger Ball is backing me in our precious metals company. He says, where do I join? Where do I send the money? I went like this. Man, I did that one in about 20 seconds. Had nothing to do. I didn't know magic dust here. I said, this is working good. So I call up Bruce Harris. Now, Bruce, the conversation goes a little different because Dennis, I was talking to every month because I wanted Dennis to give me a couple of million to help me start 7K metals, and he never would cough up the money. So that's why I called him and said, I got the miracle, Roger's backing me. Which that's a whole miracle, but we'll tell that story in another day because I did not go to Roger, he came to me. Well, so anyway, I call up Bruce Harris. Listen, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've got it so crystal clear. Okay, but you got to be duplicatable. So Bruce gets on the phone. I cannot make Bruce buy, join, or sell. I can only ask him to look or listen. So therefore, there's no pressure on me. That's why I can lighten up. That's why it's relaxed intensity. I say it again, relaxed intensity. So Bruce picks up the phone, and again, I'm going to see if I can do it in less than a minute, because if I can do it in less than a minute, this thing will go around the world because it doesn't need me. Bruce, what's the latest? What's happening? What's going on? He says, I'm driving a truck down the highway filled with Idaho potatoes. Listen carefully. I said, Bruce, I have no idea if it's for you or not. See the relaxed intensity? Get the facts, make an intelligent decision. I want to send you a short video. I'll call you tomorrow to gauge your interest. Here's what he said. He said, what is it? Again, nobody knows what it is more than me. Would you like to know what I said? Go like this. So I go, because I'm watching my watch. Can I do it in less than 60 seconds? The phones are lit up like Christmas trees. The wires are smoking. They're ringing off the hook. I got to go. I'll call you tomorrow to gauge your interest. Hang the phone up. It was like, I did it. I refuse to tell him what it is. I want him to watch the tape. He watches it 50 times. How rude. He joins without even calling me back. I'm teasing. Okay. Pretty magic does. Talk for 60 seconds. Now, would it have been a major business error if I didn't call him? Would it be a major business error if I didn't call Dennis Nacella? So I said, this is working good. I'm going to call Bob Reed. Bob Reed says, look, we got the flood of 2016. I'm standing with these boots in my mom's house that's flooded out. I said, I don't care. go to the site, watch what I got. I'll call you tomorrow to gauge your interest, and basically hung up. He joined without calling me back. He goes ahead, he calls up George Donaldson. It's not what you say that counts, how you feel about what you say. George, tonight, Friday, emergency meeting at your house. Get everyone there. George goes, I ain't doing no meeting Friday night. Bob says, well, they'll go jump in a lake. I'll go get someone else. Whoa, 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 hold on. 17 people joined that night. The meetings, Bob's only 10 minutes into the meeting. George gets up, goes to the back of the computer, goes 7kmetals.com, and he just starts / Bob, Louisiana, until he can find the site. They hit the join button because he knows the quicker he gets in, the better, right? I could go on and on and on. Here we are today, the miracle. You want to hear another good story? Is that okay? I got so many of them. Okay, look at this. Can you see that? That's the Miss Liberty 1 ounce silver coin. That's the Miss Liberty 2 ounce. Look at the detail. Here's the Miss Liberty 5 ounce. Miles Standish, coin collecting guru, known around the world by everyone that has anything to do with coin collecting and grading. Him and the young man from the CIT Mint come to Idaho Falls, Idaho, and he says, I just designed the most brilliant coin ever made. This coin is the coinage of a sovereign nation, and I understand that. That is not a medallion, it's the currency, it's coinage of a sovereign nation. Michael Jordan, Tom Hanks, they don't have a coin with their picture on it. You just don't go down to the local government and say, make me a coin, all right? So for this to be the coinage of a sovereign nation, to be high relief, smart minting redefined, to the best of my knowledge, there's only one place in the world that can do it. The US Mint can't do it. The Canadian Mint can't do it. The South African Mint can't do it. The Australian Mint can't do it. The Mint in England can't do it. It's the Mint in Germany. So we have the coinage of a sovereign nation. They put the 7K logo in it. It's graded by NGC, and there's only 1,886. Now remember, I'm an eat, drink, and sleep morning, noon, and night professional in this industry we call network marketing. Never, ever, ever have I seen anything like this, where 1,886 and we get the world's exclusive. No one else gets it. Lear Capital, Roslyn Gold, Gold Line, no one else but us. Like, whoa, whoa, why? We changed the way gold and silver will be sold around the world forever. You've heard of Amazon. You remember when they were selling books? They were like a joke. They probably do more sales in 1 hour than other companies do in a lifetime. And so there's only 1,886. We get the world's exclusive, and they sell out almost instantly. The 2 ounce, there's 1,028. Why is there 1,886? Statue of Liberty came to the US in 1886. Why there 1,028? It was dedicated on October the 28th of 1886. This one here, these are 2020. This is 2021. So this says it's in remembrance the 20th anniversary of what happened to the World Trade Buildings 11th, so the 20th anniversary, and there's only 911. Sells out instantly. If you got all 3 of them, wow, 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 you got a collection that is worth some serious, serious money. What if you only have 2? You want the 3rd one. can only get at one place in the world. We call that the secondary market, which is stack and sell. So does that immediately make our membership a product of value? Absolutely. Not to mention the insurance, not to mention the stack and sell and the sound money wallet. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, but how's that, everybody? Anyone got a question for me or comment, or it's
I would,
it's a breath.
I would ask if you got a question for Mr. Hanson that you would raise your hand, and Randy will call on you one at a time. She'll ask you to come off mute, and Richard will answer your question. My stomach hurts, Richard, and this is just a sample of what you're going to get at convention. Richard is a hoot, and every 7K founder that I have met, and I've met all 4, are just like this. They're just a hoot. You know why? You know why you can be that way? It's called financial freedom. What is financial freedom?
7K.
Well, it's not
7K a week.
necessarily, but you can spend the time you want to spend with the people you want to spend it with, when you want to do it, where money's not an object. That's financial freedom. And that's what we're all working towards. Is it about money? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's the freedom. And so with that, Brandy, I'll turn it over to you, and you can do Q&A.
I want square ice cream.
When you come when you come to Idaho Falls, you definitely have to go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Jackson Hole, Wyoming, in my opinion, is the second prettiest place in the U.S.
Yes.
Of course, everybody knows where the first, and that is Glacier National Park, where I live in Montana. You ever seen that movie with Kevin Costner? What's it called? Yellowstone?
Yeah.
Yeah, his place is pretty nice. I think mine's prettier.
Nice. Awesome.
All right. Paul, you have your hand up. Go ahead and come off mute and go ahead and ask.
Yeah, well, mine's more of an observation. Richard, I am impressed with your enthusiasm and at the ease at which you are able to express yourself to people. And I call myself a people person, but I learned just from watching you a better way to share. And the ease that you did it was, I mean, I was laughing, and I was watching Derek. He was losing it. But that's the thing. It's humor. I mean, humor does get people interested, because it's natural, and I'm a locksmith that's my full-time job, but I'm swaying more this way because I can use what I learned here in that, and also with 7K. I mean, I share with people that I meet every day. I would have liked to have more people join, but I think I'm finding and tuning my ways to speak people and not give so much information, because what you did was brilliant. So that's basically, thank you for what you taught me. And I'll go off on mute again.
Paul, a couple of things. First of all, notice I never put the coins in their hands until they ask me. Sometimes I see people too aggressive. I'm getting on the airplane and I'm exhausted, and I put my briefcase in the overhead and I'm talking to myself, and I'm saying, Richard, you worked really, really hard this week. And Richard, you have every right to sit down, close your eyes, and rest. But the still small voice is, Richard, talk to people at opportune moments. And of course, I'm fighting with myself. I'm saying, look, I have a right to just sit down and relax. And the still small voice says, practice what you preach. And so I go to sit down and immediately stick out my hand. It wasn't easy because I was physically tired. And I said, my name's Richard, what's yours? And he said, Keith. And some of them are not as easy as others. And I said, Keith, we're going to Dallas. Do you live in Dallas? And he said, no. And I said, well, where do you live? And he said, Bartlesville, Oklahoma. And I said, well, what brings you to Dallas? And he said, business. What type of work do you do? And he said, IBM. And I said, how long you been with IBM? And he said, 30 years. And finally, he said, Richard, what do you do? And that's when on the airplane, it was a tube of 50 1/10-ounce gold coins that up his hand. Well, his eyes lit up. He held it to the sun coming into the airplane, kept telling me about his financial advisors telling him to diversify in the precious metals. Make a long story short, he gets in the business. But again, it's that talking at opportune moments and understanding. I'll never forget Jim Rohn. With Jim Rohn, I was so blessed. How many on this, have you ever heard of Jim Rohn? You know, he's probably written more books about our industry than anyone else. And I was super, super blessed to have 15 minutes of private time. That's where it's just me and him in a room. And it was called Fix and Celebrate. And so here I am in the room with him. And this is in 1983 and 1984, long time ago. And I said, Jim, I'm making 6 figures, but I want to grow my business. So here I am on a one-on-one meeting with Jim Rohn, and he puts 10 pennies on the table, 10 pennies. And he tells me if I want to grow my business, it's 10 pennies. And I'm like, come on, give me a break. What's with the 10 pennies? And he said, you put the 10 pennies in your left pocket. And every time you pitch someone on the opportunity or the product, whether they say yes or no, you get to move a penny from the left pocket to the right pocket. Now, if you're full-time and want to make the 6-figure income, I had to promise to him that I would move 10 pennies every day, 5 days a week, for 30 days until I came back with another meeting, which would be 200 people. So what's that? The 10 a day, 50, 200 in the 28 days. And so I would say, hey, do you know anyone that wants to lose weight? Nope, not interested. Moved 1 penny. I'd be at the gas station putting gas in the car. My business is expanding in the area. You know anyone that wants to make extra money? No. Got to move a penny. Because he said, even if I did it all wrong, the safety in numbers, he called it Sinaloa. Sinaloa is a state in Mexico. Sinaloa, Sinaloa, stood for safety in numbers and the law of average. So even if I did it all wrong, if I was talking to 10 a day, I was going to find someone that wanted to lose weight and would get on my product, correct? And so we come back, and remember my meeting with him is called Fix and Celebrate. Fix or Celebrate. So I'd go over my journal with him. He'd always have me with a journal, and I showed him how I talked to 9 people one day. And he got all over my case. And he said, we had an agreement, Richard. You said you'd talk to 10 a day, and you only talked to 9. And I said, Jim, the wash machine broke. And I'll never forget him. It sounded so cold. He said, all excuses are equal. You promised me 10 a day. And I said, Jim, look, I talked to 11 the next day. And he said, Richard, we didn't say anything about 9 one day and 11 the other. Well, what was he trying to do? He said, what are the 3 ingredients for success? And I said, number 1 is the burning desire. Well, do you really want to have success with this company? Yes. Are you willing to work at it? Burn the midnight oil, get up early, make the phone calls, attend the meetings, talk to the people? Yes. But the third thing is teachable. And he said, Richard, you promised me 10 a day and you only talked to 9. Well, guess what? The next week, it was like midnight and I had only talked to 9 people. I ran out the front door. I waved down the first car that went by and I said, stop, stop, stop. Do you want to lose weight? No. Get to move a penny, right? And so it was those disciplines of the burning desire, willingness to work. But the most important thing was being teachable, and he was teaching me. So there's so many things here in your question, Paul. So first of all, I never put the coins in their hands until they ask. So I don't do that anymore. I retired my tracking center. I was the first one in this company to hit the rank of gold associate. I was the first one to make a $7,000 check. As soon as I did that, I retired my tracking center because I didn't want to compete with anyone else in the field. But why did I have to do that, Derek? I had to do that because I can't tell you to go do something. In other words, I can train you on what I read in a book, or I can train you on what I did, what my daily method of operation was, what my IPA was, my income producing activity. So today, if I met you, I'd say, look at this beautiful 2-ounce blue skies. Look at this one right here, the Majestic Eagle. This one is absolutely brilliant. And I go through them pretty quick. Look at Donald Trump, coinage of a sovereign nation, to the best of my knowledge, the only coinage of a sovereign nation, Donald Trump coin, and it's high relief, smart minting, redefined, and it's got the 7K logo, and it's graded by NGC. Tell me that ain't worth money. How about the White House coin? You know, and I go, how about the goose that laid the golden egg? Again, what am I doing? The superstar is the product. But at the same time, when you look at the brilliance of that, I mean, it's just, and now the Hunter by Night, the Black Panther. So if the person doesn't get excited, next person, did that help you? One more thing, I got to share this. So Jim Rohn told me over and over, Derek, can't make them buy, join, or sell. You can only ask them to look or listen. So he told me this story. He said, Richard, how are you with the scripture? And I said, not very good. And he said, Richard, I'm not that very good either. But he quoted how he said, you know, the master, the greatest teacher, Jesus, he had his inner circle. He had his top 12, his inner circle. And he personally trained them for 3+ years. Again, I'm a novice at the scripture stuff, but he trained them for 3 years. And he's checking out. He's saying, look, guys, I got to take off, but it's far better. You got the comforter. He said, but you're going to go out 2 by 2. So he sent them out 2 by 2 to do what? To tell the good story, to tell the one way to heaven story. So here's the inner circle, the top 12, trained by the best of the best, and they go out 2 by 2 knocking on doors. And the master says to them, when you knock on their doors and you're telling the one way to heaven story, he said, if they don't buy your story, in other words, one way to heaven, and they say, no, we believe in Santa Claus. What did he say? He said, kick the sand out of your sandals and go to the next house, right? So you go to the next house and you knock on the door, and you're the best of the best, trained by the master with the greatest story in the world called One Way to Heaven. And they go, no, we think Santa Claus is the way. You go to the third house says Santa Claus is the way. So you start scratching your head and you say, wow, maybe this Jesus, maybe Santa Claus is the way. In other words, you had to kick the grain of sand out of your sandal because it basically, he said, they did not buy your story, the one way to heaven story. It's important you don't buy their story, correct? So he said to me, Richard, who in the world do you think you are if you think everyone's going to buy your silver and gold story? He says, so when I put it in their hands and they look at me like deer to headlight, it's next person. That's why I make so many sales, because I've got this incredible relaxed tensity. And I know that I know that I know if you have this, it's a good thing. My product's not as good as gold. It is gold. Buying yourself at member direct pricing makes more sense than calling a 1-800 number talking to a stranger. And oh, by the way, if you're not afraid to put some perspiration on your forehead and talk to people at opportune moments like I did, you can earn them instead of pay for them. How many would agree with me that earning them is better than paying for them? Anyway, any other
awesome.
questions for me? Or
We
do you
did
have
have
enough
that,
for me?
Johnson. Did you have a question? I seen your hand was up.
Yeah, Richard, thank you so much for your time and energy. This has been such a thrill to hear you talk, and just your passion is it's intoxicating, really. So it's like you've got more fuel in my fire to really promote 7K, because I really do believe in your vision and your mission. I think that's more of a way to call it, but you basically answered my question. It was kick the sand out of your sandal, and it was more like how do you handle rejection when it comes to it. But it's not everybody's gonna look at your story, yeah. Thank you for everything that you do.
Now, don't burn your bridges. The scripture also says that one plants, one waters, one gets the increase. In other words, let me tell you about my precious metals story. Not interested. Okay. Well, I keep in touch. They see my new car I'm driving and they want to know how I got that new car. I'm so glad you asked. And they keep hearing more and more on the news about the drama of bank failures and trillion-dollar stimulus packages. And so one plants, then someone waters, and then someone comes by and gets the increase. Don't give up on them, but it's still next person.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, I could tell you a bunch more, but that's now the very important thing here is please don't try to be like me. What I'm saying is I'm a street recruiter. I love street recruiting because A, it doesn't cost anything. B, it's duplicatable. See, if I ran an expensive ad or I had to do something on social media that was very technical, yes, it could work for me, but it might not work for you. So I love street recruiting, but it's still the 10 pennies. Or if you're part-time, you might move 2 pennies every other day. Maybe you just want to make an extra 20,000 this year. So just move 2 pennies or 3 pennies every other day, right? So, but you got to, so some of you might want to just stay in your pajamas in the basement and just go through your high school yearbook and just send emails to everybody and say, look, hey, Joe, I don't know what's happening, what the latest is, what's going on. I'd like you to look at a short video. It's gold, silver, and I'll call you next week to gauge your interest. Send out 10 emails a day, wrong number. Someone calls wrong number. Say, hey, I'm so glad you called. Do you think gold and silver is a good thing? They hang up on you. It doesn't matter. You get to, but at the end of the day, and you put your head on the pillow, it's who did I talk to? And we take this in all areas. In other words, if you go to New Orleans, you will come home a different person. You're going to get all kinds of incredible growth. But what if you go to New Orleans with 5 personally sponsored membership sales? And then what if they each had 1 or 2 people? See the difference? Again, you go to New Orleans by yourself, grand slam home run, but bring a couple with you. And then what happens is the next impending event when you go, instead of having 2 or 3, you got 30 or 40. Bob Reed's a perfect example. Every single convention he's at, him and George Donaldson, they stand outside the convention door for 3-4 hours before the doors open, just so they can get front row center. But every time I see Bob and George's organization just multiply like crazy, where they just had a couple of dozen the first time, then they had a couple of hundred, and now they have thousands. And so, any other questions, or do we need to go?
We do have one more. We have one more hand up. That's okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, Susan, come off mute.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So Richard, when you were talking about the guy at the airport, I was just in the Dallas airport, and, we're actually really educating people here. Nobody ever is buying. I mean, they don't even know about buying precious metals, right? It's so crazy. So I run into this guy, and he's been buying silver for 20 years. We're like totally politically on the same page and everything. So we were like, I mean, he's not even on my team yet. And I go, we had like an hour and a half. And so he goes, well, we should go find out how many people know about like purchasing silver. So he went and did went and talked to a few people, and then I went and talked to a few people. And so I'm sitting there thinking how much fun it's going to be when he comes on the team, because he's going to already know how uneducated people are. But my question is he's not in yet. I just got home from Alabama staying with my daughter, and there's some health challenges and stuff that I was there for. But so on the next step to get him involved, because I'm calling him tomorrow, how would you handle that?
Listen, no, really take a deep breath. Some of you are trying too hard. When I'm out there in the field, and I mean that, some of you are trying too hard. When I went to look at the piece of real estate, I only had one thing on my mind, which was looking at the real estate with the intentions of hopefully buying it, correct? But again, it was not what I said that counted, but how I felt about what I said, and knowing that I cannot make the non-Nelson buy, join, or sell. And so when she asked what I did, and I put the precious metals in her hand, she then bought a tube of 20 from me. She went to her sister, put the coins in her hand, and she made a sale immediately that day without needing me, because it was duplicatable. The other thing is very important to get good at saying, I don't know about that. Let me see if I can get Richard on the phone. Let me see if I can get Derek on the phone. Let me see if I can get Brandy on the phone. I was constantly putting Josh Anderson and Zach Davis on the phone with the people. I knew everything they knew. But the reason is that third-party validation. I'm just so clear on this, and it's so hard for it to sink in. If I go all the way back to my training in 1982, Derek, is 40 years ago. I'm driving the fire truck. I have a knock on the door. This guy has a button that says, lose weight now, ask me how. He wants to know if I want to lose weight. He can't make me buy, join, or sell. But I just had the discussion looking at my era 40 years ago, and I said, I need to lose weight. Just like when I said, Bruce, don't know if it's for you or not. Why did he watch it 50 times? Because he had that burning desire. He was so sick and tired of driving that truck, and he was looking for something, and I showed up at the perfect time. So when Jim Clifton knocked on the door 40 years ago in 1982, and he's got this button on, lose weight now, ask me how. And I tell him I want to lose weight. He immediately gave a testimony. He said, look at my picture before and after. I lost 40 pounds, never felt better in my life, and I've kept the 40 pounds off now for 3 months. Try it, you like it. So why did I buy the product? Not because of the ingredients, but because of the testimony. I wanted to lose weight. He lost weight. I make the purchase. So I get a distributor kit with Herbalife. Again, this is 40 years ago, right? This is me cutting my teeth. I quit the fire department. I quit a 6-figure job, and I've been 40 years. So I get this distributor kit, and I'll never forget this, Derek. This is no one's ever heard this before. So I get this distributor kit, and inside is a can of protein powder. There's a vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, and I got a chocolate. And so as soon as I signed the papers, because there was no such thing as doing this on the internet, right? As soon as I gave him the $29.95 and I got my distributor kit, he immediately grabs me and he says, let's go into the kitchen. Where's your blender? I mean, I'm only in the business 5 seconds, right? I don't have a blender. He says, well, get me a glass with a fork. He says, you got any milk? No, I have no milk. Okay, get me water. So we fill the glass up with water and he puts in 2 scoops of the powder. He mixes it up and he says, drink it. So I drink and I go, wow, this tastes pretty good. What was he doing? His training in Herbalife was use the product. Use the product is number one. On Nelson's, I think I and K. Cox and coins and jeans. I drink half and I go, wow, that tastes pretty good. He puts his coat on and he says, let's go across the street and talk to Steve. And I'm like, what do you mean talk to Steve? And he said to me, you told me your neighbor Steve needed to lose weight. See, in the process of signing up, he's asking questions like, you know anyone that wants to lose weight? And I don't even realize what I'm saying. I said, yeah, my neighbor Steve. So he grabs me and he says, let's go see Steve. Steve, I'm only in this thing 3 minutes now, right? We're going to go knock on Steve's door. I haven't been to a training. I don't know anything. So we knock on Steve's door and he says, just introduce me. I said, Steve, I got my button on now, because how do you make money in this company called Herbalife? Use, wear, talk. Use the product, wear the button, talk to people. Again, it goes back to the dodo proof, the duplicatable, the fun, simple, magical, lighten up your sales or brighten up. But to take Herbalife around the world, it's got to happen with the superstar being the product. So I knock on the door and Steve says, what's this lose weight now? Ask me how. And I said, ask Jim Clifton. And Jim says, look, I lost 40 pounds. Here's my before and after picture. And I'll never forget this. He says, what kind of protein powder's in the protein? Is it collagen? Is it whey? Is it soy? And I'll never forget my sponsor, my hero, right? He says to my neighbor, I have absolutely no idea. He says, all I know is I lost 40 pounds, never felt better in my life, try it, you'll love it. And then he looked at me and I go, all I know is it tastes great. I just had it 1 minute ago and it tastes great, right? Well, we make the sale. We get back and I go, Jim, why didn't you tell him what kind of protein powder was in there? You knew what it was in there. He said, you never, ever do that. You sell results, not ingredients. And I'm going, what do you mean you sell results, not ingredients? Well, first of all, if you say it's soy protein and he thinks it should be whey, you lost the sale. And besides, then you're not going to knock on the neighbor's door. You're going to think you got to go to 4 or 5 trainings first to learn about the ingredients before you make a sale. When it's used, where, talk. So then my neighbor puts the button on. Well, he makes the sale to the lady at church that loses the 70 pounds. And the next thing you know, I'm making a lot of money in this company, right? But again, it was, so you can't make your friend buy, join, or sell. You gotta laugh with them. Hey, how many silver coins you got? What if he says he has 100? Would you like another 100? I mean, what if he says, I don't, would you like to get some? And again, then you laugh and you joke and you relax and you have fun. And then you build a relationship. Why is it Dennis the seller and I are best friends? Why is it that Bob Reed and I are best friends? Why is it that Gene Mann and I are best friends? Why is it Kay Cox? Because I went to their house, I slept on their couch, I did a meeting, I did it again and again and again, and we built the relationship. But again, it boils down to the heart, not what I say, but how I feel about what I say. Did that help you at all? And today we just want to get so technical. Yes, I know that the American Eagle, December 17th, 1985, signed by President Ronald Reagan. It was called the Gold Coin Bullion Act. And in that federal law, it says there's sufficient quantity to meet the public demand. And in that federal law, it says they're guaranteed for the weight, content, and purity. I know my facts. But when I dump the coins in their hands, if they're not interested, I run and I go to the next person. So look, your name is Susan. It'd be called, to me, it'd be a mystery of the mind if anyone ever said no to you. If you knocked on my door, I'm buying everything. So relax. Take that deep breath and don't stress over it. Just and don't be Richard and don't be Derek. You be yourself, okay? But don't hesitate saying, I don't know. Ask Jim. He goes, I lost 40 pounds, never felt better in my life. Look at the picture here, and the guy says, I'm in. So you go, I don't know. All I know is this guy, Dennis Nacella, he went down to the Mercedes dealership, bought his daughter a brand new Mercedes, no payment, paid 100% out of his sound money wallet off of cycle checks. The daughter said, why don't you go buy one? He bought one from himself, and both cars were over $100,000. I don't know about that. All I know is Richard was on the phone yesterday complaining about he had to go buy his 5th safe because he doesn't have enough room in the first 4. Would you agree that's a good problem? Anyway, so lighten up, have fun, and get help from your upline. That help you all, everybody? I know you wanted this big technical, go do this
Oh my
social
God.
media.
Perfect.
Make 1 million sales. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with influencers. There's nothing wrong with but it's the day at a time, brick at a time. It's the daily method of operation. It's lighten up your sales.
Oh my
Sounds good,
God.
everybody?
So y'all think I'm a comedian, really?
You better make sure we hang out in New Orleans, everybody, okay?
Oh, we're going. Yeah, we're going.
Absolutely.
Definitely need to look up Richard in New Orleans.
I could sit here and listen to him for like 2 more hours.
About 6 weeks.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I can't wait to get to New Orleans and hang out. And
It's going to be so much fun to hang out.
My face hurts from laughing.
Oh.
How about that sophisticated 10 pennies? You'll remember that one, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Jim Rohn said, no. I told you 10 a day, and you only did 9.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't do it the next day and make up for it.
And Chad is a big advocate of Jim Rohn.
Yes.
And I can hear Jim Rohn saying that, can't you, Chad?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, I can hear him saying that right now.
You know how he would go, it's the story. So going back to, so old Jim Clifton would say, every time they asked him something, what kind of amino acids? I don't know. All I know is lost 40 pounds. I said, you know exactly what the trace minerals are. You know exactly. He says, so that's why so even though I knew everything, Gene Mann said, what brought you here? I just dumped the coin in his hands. Again, my 40 results, not ingredient. All right. He'll find out how to make cycle checks. He'll find out how the comp plan works. But so he was able to go to the neighbor, dump the coins, and show the video. And that's how we reproduced. Hey, listen, I better sign off.
Thank
you know,
you
I
so
don't
much,
think
Richard.
Richard, thank you so much.
great.
Thank
for
you,
your
Richard.
time.
Thanks, Richard.
Yeah,
what's so
thank
funny
you
is
so much for your time.
We appreciate
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Richard.
love you
Thank
all.
you.
See you in New Orleans. Bye, everybody.
Thank